Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Bond extended for some junior doctors. St. Thomas residents still experiencing inconvenience following yesterday's heavy rainfall. And later in sports, Shelley and Fraser Price to face star-studded field at Diamond League in Monaco on Friday. I'm Anthony Lugg. Here are the details. We begin with some good news for some junior medical doctors who've been facing unemployment. More than 30 of them whose contracts were expired last week had their bond extended by the Ministry of Health. This comes amid uncertainty about what will become of the other doctors, a little over 100, who are still awaiting a deal from the government. The Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA, says 36 of the doctors who were facing unemployment have now received contracts following last week's sick-out. Doctors went on sick-out over the decision not to renew the contracts of 143 physicians as well as the non-payment of gratuity.
Persons who have been owed their gratuity payments have begun this morning. Well, persons have begun to receive their gratuity this morning, and this would start from persons who were owed as far back as 2014.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dunstan Bryan, provided details on the nature of the contracts.
Their persons were offered 6-month contract and 1-year contract. It was found that it was appropriate to offer them a 2-year contract. They were offered a 2-year contract with the related benefits attached to the contract.
In the meantime, Dr. Fitz-Henley says talks are continuing regarding the employment status of the doctors who are yet to be rehired.
We're going to continue to do everything that we can because, as you can see, we're making some headway. So we just need to keep pushing. The fight is not over. We have to keep going. And that's our aim.
But when asked about the future of the remaining junior doctors, Mr. Bryan gave this response.
So the conversation continues around the structure of the healthcare system and the fact that the entire healthcare cadre for staff needs a strategic review. That review includes not just doctors at the entrance level, but doctors at all levels.
To news now on the aftermath of Tropical Storm Elsa. Residents of Grand Spen in St. Thomas are still experiencing some inconvenience following yesterday's heavy rainfall. A section of the main road was flooded yesterday. Our reporter Vaccination Brown is in the community and now reports.
I'm in Grand Spen, St. Thomas, where motorists are still having a rough time using this road after yesterday's heavy rainfall associated with Tropical Storm Elsa. Now, when we got here this morning, the road was pretty much reduced to single-lane traffic. There were also some people here trying to direct motorists. Now, we spoke with some motorists as well. So why you take the road instead of the detour?
Them detour me down, sir. And I send the rest of the vehicle up there, sir. So I don't know where that for. And can't share because I send some, so. And I said, we are going to town to go, so. And then I send we come from town that way, so I don't know.
So you'd prefer use the detour up the hill?
Yeah, man.
Or you'd prefer use on it?
I don't want to drive on it first.
Well, the road need a little attention presently. Every flow of traffic is getting hampering. So I wish for them to do a little better.
So you ever see it like this before?
No, I've never seen.
How often you use it already?
Daily, within a year now.
What do you think they need for the body?
More supervision in maintaining the carriageway so that the vehicle flow easier.
Now, behind me is where the highway is being constructed here in St. Thomas. Now, it's not yet open, but motorists have been using the road because of the flooding here in Grand Spen. I also spoke with NAA's communication manager, Stephen Shaw, who said the material from the hillside came down on the road and caused the flooding. Reporting from St. Thomas, I'm Vaccination Brown for TVJ News. It's back to you in studio.
Still in St. Thomas, residents of the Bamboo River community are appealing to the relevant authorities to assist them in cleaning a nearby gully, which they say poses a challenge when it rains. The aftermath of Tropical Storm Elsa saw a huge amount of debris being washed away in the gully. One resident could be seen making an attempt to remove some of the debris to allow the floodwaters to flow freely. However, the residents say they need help.
It's due to wall, go down, and Whenever the rain fall and the sea mouth back up, the gully come over and everybody flood out. It used to be narrow gully and now it become wide because they use the tractor and widen it out, and it's a very concern too. While the river grind around here break down and need much attention. And we don't see any government authority, nobody, we don't see to come and assist us.
The residents say a bridge is also needed in the area. Meanwhile, our reporter Dwayne Anderson has been in Savannah, Clarendon, where residents were marooned yesterday.
As you can tell, it's a bright sunny day in Clarendon, in stark contrast to what it was yesterday when flood rains affected communities like Savannah. Yesterday, water got as high as residents' knees. Today, the water is receding. Now you can tell it's just above ankle level. The residents are saying it could have been much worse.
Water flood out the whole of my home and my yard and my garden and everything. I have to move up everything upstairs.
Was that scary moment?
Yes, it was a scary moment. My children them are crying and it thunder, liquor and everything.
A resident of Savannah. Yeah, we have a bigger problem over that side. Cause look at the height of this road. Over there it was a sea yesterday. Because all the water, there's no drain on that side. And it needs a drain. Lower drain too. So you see those house was there before this highway. So all of that water from off of the highway run that side and go over that side. All of those residents flood out.
So I spoke with the local authorities here in Clarendon, including the mayor of Mape and Winston Maraj, who explained that work crews are out in the respective communities doing their assessment and removing debris from some of the roadways that have been blocked. He also indicated that only a handful of residents were displaced by the flooding here in the parish. Reporting from Clarendon, I'm Dwayne Anderson for TVJ News.
The country might have escaped a direct hit from Tropical Storm Elsa, but the winds from the system uprooted several trees in sections of Portland. In East Baptist Avenue, residents took the initiative to remove fallen trees which blocked a section of the road.
Okay, I was sitting on my veranda when I hear the rumbling. When I come outside, I saw that the breadfruit tree came down. And we came down off the hill. When we come off the hill now, we saw that it blocked the road. We do some clearing for 2 vehicles to pass by.
However, they are concerned about the other trees which were left standing in the aftermath. The road leads to the Port Antonio Hospital, and so residents say urgent attention is needed.
There's a breadfruit tree hanging over the light wire. And if that tree come down, it will cause power outage. I think they need to be cut down because they are a threat to the light wire, and they also, this is an emergency road leading to the Port Antonio Hospital. So I think they need the relevant authority, they need to step in and start do something about these trees. Because they're really a threat to our community as they look at it now.
If anybody can contact JPS or anybody to come try to deal with the situation, we are most like love that right now, honestly. Because as long as I say, it don't look good.
Over in St. Mary, fishermen at the Paget Fishing Beach are breathing a sigh of relief given the shift in the direction of the storm. Early forecasts suggested that the parishes in the east, including St. Mary, would have been severely impacted. For these fishermen, it's now back to business.
Come to our side. Right?
Despite everything, you still feel good?
Yeah, we still feel good.
Residents in New Haven, St. Andrew want a sewage problem in their community to be addressed. In addition to the flooding in the area on Sunday, the residents complained about sewage water flowing in the community. They're concerned about the health risks.
The sewage have broken down for days now before the rain start fall. And I have begged somebody to make numerous calls to the supervisor of the wastewater department and they promised that they would come and do something to it. That is causing the water to smell very bad right now. Filthy, bad, but them can do something about it. Do it now.
More than 180,000 people have been evacuated in Cuba amid fears that Tropical Storm Elsa could cause heavy flooding. The Cuban government opened shelters and moved to protect sugarcane and cocoa crops ahead of the storm, which was offshore moving along Cuba's southern coast last night. Most of the people who evacuated went to relatives' homes, while others sheltered at government facilities. Hundreds living in mountainous areas took refuge in national caves prepared for emergencies. The National Hurricane Center in Miami said the storm is expected to gradually weaken while passing over central Cuba today. And it's time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back. Continuing the news. The Education Ministry is encouraging students to participate in the summer school program, which begins today. The move is in an attempt to make up for learning loss due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Shamela Pullen reports.
The National Summer School Program will cater to students from grades 1 to 11. This will be done both face-to-face and online. Education Minister Favour Williams says the ministry is targeting the 120,000 students who have not been engaged in any learning since the start of the pandemic for the face-to-face component.
They have not been consistently in the virtual world. They have not been able to watch TV where we have lessons that are broadcasted. They have not been able to listen to the radio. And in some cases, they have not been able to pick up their textbook or their worksheets from school. So we have a program to identify those students, sit with them in groups up to 15 to ensure that we can engage them again so that when we begin in the face-to-face world in September, they will not be lost when they get back to school.
Mrs. Williams says the online classes will be delivered 2 hours per day from Monday to Thursday.
So the online component of the summer program will run for 7 weeks. It will be 2 hours per day, Monday to Thursday, but we will make available to the students on a self-directed basis other hours of the day, so that means they can log on and still have access to lessons online.
Efforts are also being made to get community centers and churches to accommodate face-to-face classes.
We don't necessarily want the children to be traveling, so we would want to go to the communities rather than have students come to schools. So the face-to-face component of it will be more controlled than the online, because as you can imagine, we need a physical location. So it'll be those students who would have been identified, who would have been contacted, that we are targeting for the face-to-face.
Students can register for face-to-face summer classes at educate.gov.jm or by contacting their schools. Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
35 new cases of the coronavirus were confirmed on Sunday from 280 samples. The country's overall case count is now 50,389. The positivity rate now stands at 11.3%. 6 new deaths were recorded, pushing the death toll to 1,094. In the meantime, 108 persons are hospitalized with a respiratory illness. 13 are critically ill. There are 16,327 active cases. The Ministry of Health's COVID-19 vaccination program resumes today. It was put on hold on Sunday due to the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa. The ministry says second doses of the vaccine will still be administered based on appointments. And it's time now for a Business Minute. Here's Janella Precious.
The Business Minute. Brought to you by
News. The future of government's e-commerce national delivery solution ENDS program is being contemplated. This particularly given the recently relaxed COVID-19 measures. ENDS was created to allow entities in the quick service sector to operate during curfew hours up to midnight. Minister without portfolio in the National Security Ministry, Matthew Samuda, says the program is still relevant and has sparked a new growth dimension for the economy.
It is certainly a positive spin-off that so many businesses have engaged commerce on the World Wide Web, have brought in delivery components to their business, have seen that there are other opportunities to earn. And I think ends may not exist as ends, but certainly the delivery economy, which is indeed growing even in COVID time, will continue to flourish, and that is our expectation.
Overseas, Amazon's CEO Jeff Bezos today stepped down as head of the multi-billion-dollar company. July 5th is the date Amazon was incorporated in 1994. The internet giant made Bezos one of the richest people in the world. He will hand the reins of chief to Andy Jassy, who has been at Amazon for nearly 25 years and currently runs Amazon's web services. Bezos will take the title of Amazon's executive chair, where he says he will focus his energy and attention on new products and early initiatives. For the Business Minute, I'm Janella Precious.
The Business Minute, brought to you by...
And with a look at what's coming up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope, here's Kian Morgan.
Coming up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope.
From a small, I just love to build things. And the first time I try it and I actually see it work, from there I just love it. Anything when I build and it actually works is like a joy. So next time you see me, I'll be flying.
That's A Ray of Hope, this evening during Primetime News.
A Ray of Hope, brought to you by...
And we go now to news overseas. Search crews are expected to return to work at the site of the Surfside building collapse, just hours after the remaining structure of that partially collapsed condo was demolished. Officials are hoping the removal will make it safer for rescue teams to expand the search on the debris pile. All this as Elsa takes aim at Florida, where tropical storm warnings and watches are in place.
In just seconds, a major hurdle in the search and rescue in Surfside, gone.
It's eliminated a looming threat, a dangerous threat for our rescue workers.
A demolition crew taking down what was left of Champlain Towers South, following concerns the structure was unstable and endangered rescuers on the ground, and fears it wouldn't hold up against powerful winds from approaching tropical storm Elsa.
It will potentially open up probably a third of the pile so we can all, so the teams can focus not just on 2/3 of the pile, but on the whole thing, which is important.
For much of the weekend, the search through the pile of debris was paused as engineers secured the site and prepared for the demolition. At least 24 people are confirmed dead in the collapse, and 121 are unaccounted for.
I truly believe, I know, that the family members recognize and appreciate that we are proceeding in the best possible fashion to allow us to do the search that we need to do.
Meanwhile, South Florida is gearing up for Elsa. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency for 15 counties, including Miami-Dade County. DeSantis saying Surfside wasn't expecting to see the worst, but the town could still see strong winds and heavy rain.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report. Renardo Brown is standing by. Renardo Brown, how you doing, sir?
Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. I'm Renata Brown. Now, the women's 200-meter event at this Friday's Diamond League meet in Monaco may give an indication as to who could be crowned Olympic champion in the half-lap event, as a number of big names have been listed. Jamaican Shelly Fraser-Price, who won the event at the National Senior Championships in a personal best 21.79 seconds, will line up against the Olympic 400-meter champion Shawnee Miller-Weber and world leader Gabriel Thomas of the United States. The highly fancied Miller-Weber, who was third at the World Championships in 2017, is yet to break 22 seconds this season, but is unbeaten over 200 meters in 2021. World leader Gabby Thomas won the American Championships in 21.61 seconds, a time which ranks her second on the all-time list. World Championship bronze medalist Munjinga Kambunji American Tamara Clark and Blessing Okogbari of Nigeria are the other big names listed for the event. The other Jamaicans set to compete at the meet are Shanika Ricketts and Kimberly Williams in the women's triple jump, Natoya Gould-Toppin in the 800 meters, and Tajay Gale in the men's long jump event. A Cavalier will be searching for back-to-back wins in the Jamaica Premier League as they take on Harbourview at the Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence at the University of the West Indies this afternoon. Cavalier blanked Humberline 2-0 in their opening match, while Harbourview were held to a 1-1 draw with Waterhouse. Kickoff is at 3:30 Jamaica time. On Tuesday, Tivoli Gardens will battle Arnett Gardens, while Veer United entertains Portmore United. More football. Defending champions and host nation Brazil will face Peru in semi-final 1 of the Copa America in Rio de Janeiro this evening. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock Jamaica time. In the 2019 final, Brazil got past Peru 3-1. Semi-final 2 between Argentina and Colombia will be played on Tuesday. Cricket news now. After losing their series against South Africa 3-2 on Saturday, the West Indies men are now in St. Lucia ahead of their 5-game series against Australia, which begins on July 9. The Caribbean men went down by 25 runs on Saturday in their 5th and final match against the South Africans, but will now have to quickly refocus for another 5 matches against Australia. The series will see both teams playing 5 games in 8 days at the same venue, with matches set for July 9, 10, 12, 14 and 16. The teams will then turn their attention to the 3-match one-day international series from July 20 to 24. Australia have not played the West Indies in a 20-over match since the 2014 T20 World Cup and have not played a T20 in the Caribbean since 2012. Apart from their match at the 2019 ODI World Cup, the two teams have not met in any format since 2016. And finally, top seed Novak Djokovic continued his bid for record-equaling 20th men's Grand Slam title with a routine last 16 win against Chile's Cristian Garin at Wimbledon. The defending champion won in straight sets 6-2, 6-4, 6-2 against the 17th seed. The Serb will now contest the 50th Grand Slam quarterfinal of his career. Italian Matteo Berrettini cruised into the quarterfinals with a confident straight set victory over Ilya Ivashka. Now the 7th seed led or looked imperious as he outclassed Ivashka 6-4, 6-3, 6-1. Russian Karen Khachanov booked his place in the last 8 by winning a 5-set thriller against American Sebastian Korda 3-6, 6-4, 6-3, 5-7, 10-8. On the women's side, world number 1 Ashley Barty reached the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the first time with a straight set victory over Barbora Krejcikova. Now, the Australian defeated the French Open champion 7-5, 6-3 to make her first Wimbledon singles main draw appearance. And that's it for your Midday Sports. I'm Renardo Brown. Anthony, it's back to you.
All right. Thank you, Renardo. Big lineup there for the Diamond League this Friday. What are we expecting?
Massive. I expect the race to be quick if all the competitors are there. Gabby Thomas at the United States Trials went 21-6. Shelly and Fraser Price broke 22 seconds for the first time at the National Championships. And Shawnee Miller-Weaver, she's just superb. Possibility she might be able to run the 2-4 at the Olympic Games. This now is a real mega clash, and it's exciting. Okay. Can't wait.
You said it, Renardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.